open and welcoming you are as a congregation. So thank you for the way that you served me this morning. I want to thank you also for being part of the Lutheran Coalition. This is a group of Lutheran churches that get together every year and build a habitat house. It is great and awesome. Do we have a picture of last year's house? Okay. Again, I'm not very good at this. So take a moment, talk amongst yourselves. I really want you to see last year's house because it's kind of beautiful. I'm moving on, and we're going to see the house when it comes. So raise your hand if you helped build last year's habitat house. Oh, thanks be to God for ya. Love that. Now, it's time for a quiz. How many of you know Habitat's mission statement? All right, I'm going to tell you. Seeking to put God's love into action, Habitat for Humanity brings people together to build homes, communities, and hope. You are a part of doing all three. You absolutely have an outward and visible sign of building homes. It is fantastic. Last year's house was in a neighborhood that's going to be 105 homes when it's done. You are building community. And the work that you do, the partnership that you have with each of the families that moves into these homes, builds hope. Thank you for doing all three of those things. We partner, Habitat partners with 130 congregations in Wake and Johnston County. And we ask everybody that we partner with to do three things. We ask you to pray, we ask you to build, and we ask you to advocate. And you are faithful in all three. Oh, look, here we go. Oh my gosh. Yay. Okay, so this is the Lutheran Coalition that you're a part of. This is the house you built last year. It is gorgeous. It is outstanding. So thank you for that. So let's keep moving on the slides. Okay, and there's the mission statement. You can pray on that later. And here's what we ask of congregations. Thank you. So we ask you to pray. We ask you to build. And we ask you to advocate. We're moving on. Okay, so here is a picture of Pastor Kim praying. We love this. This was 2 years ago at our neighborhood, and she was praying at our kickoff ceremony where we celebrate what's going to happen and kind of rest the build in God's love. And so Pastor Kim is a huge advocate for us, and we are thankful for her prayers. We continue to pray on the next slide. How many of you know Sue and Rick Oliver? How many of you are as thankful for them as I am? Sue and Rick are what we call habitat coordinators. They help to organize you guys to participate in our ministry, and we put them in the category of habitat heroes. They are so dear to us. And so this is a picture of them at last year's kickoff ceremony, leading a responsive litany in thanksgiving for building the beloved community. So we're thankful to them that they pray. Moving on. Number 2, we ask you to build. Last year, on February 11th, you guys joined the other Lutheran churches in a wall build. So what that means is that you showed up at 8 o'clock in the morning to our warehouse in Garner. You, in 2.5 hours, built all of the interior and exterior walls for the house that you would put up in this neighborhood. That is amazing. It's incredible. So thank you for those of you that helped with the wall build last year. This is a picture of those walls being stood in the neighborhood at Old Pool Place. So you built the walls, you stood the walls, and you did great work. So thank you for that. So number 3 is I would invite you to prayerfully consider whether or not you feel called to advocate for Habitat. You may know that we have an affordable housing crisis in Wake County. There's a lot of data about this, and I'm just going to share one piece, which is right now, today, we need 28,000 homes for people that earn less than $50,000 a year. It is a crisis. Habitat Wake builds between 35 and 50 houses a year. That is an amazing contribution. I believe that each of those families' lives are transformed forever by the opportunity for stability and safety they have with an affordable home. And I wonder what our response is to that 28,000 that we need. I don't have all the answers. I don't know what the ultimate solution is, but I know that systems need to change, priorities need to change, and the way we change systems and the way we change priorities is by advocating, by lending our voice, the power of our voice, to where power sits in our community, and saying, as a person of faith, this is not okay for me. So I ask you to prayerfully consider advocating. All right, let's rush on to talk about what's next. So what's next is I'm going to ask you to pray, I'm going to ask you to build, and I'm going to ask you to advocate. Are you surprised? I'm kind of a one-trick pony on this. So the next slide is a picture of our newest neighborhood, which is called Flowers Place in Knightdale. This is actually a gorgeous empty field right now, but it's gonna be a gorgeous neighborhood of 17 new homes. And we want you to be a part of building this new neighborhood. So we need you to pray. We need you to pray for the family that will select the house that you build to be their forever home. I don't know who that family is right now, but I know that God knows who that family is. And so I invite you to pray for that family. Also, as Vicar Emily said, I invite you to pray about Abiding Presence's financial contribution to Habitat. I understand, and I just heard this morning, that you guys have put together an aspirational budget for 2024. In working with these 130 congregations in this area, what I have learned is that healthy and mature churches allocate their giving to an annual budget so they can do all of the good work that God has called them to do without nickel and diming the congregation throughout the year. It's kind of a good thing. So let me just say that what you guys are pondering is the sign of a really, really healthy church. So I invite you to pray. I invite you to build. So in the program, Rick and Sue have already put a notice about signing up to help us build this house. You do not need to have any construction skills. What you do need to have, you need to be 16 years old. Sorry about that. You need to have a willing heart, and you need to have a sense of humor. So if you bring those things to the table, consider coming out to build. On October 28th, kind of tomorrow, we start building the Lutheran house, and there's an opportunity to participate with that. And then Rick and Sue have held December 2nd and March 2nd as Abiding Presence Saturdays. We're inviting you to bring out volunteers. We're inviting you to help provide lunch. So there are some opportunities to participate in building. And then number 3, in advocacy, I invite you to prayerfully consider whether or not God is calling you to use your voice on behalf of this affordable housing crisis. So I say thanks be to God for you. Thanks for what you have already done, and thanks for what you will do. And I feel privileged to be in ministry with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. And as she mentioned, you'll see in your the insert in the bulletin today that aspirational budget that we're talking about. And so in the past, Abiding Presence has taken up a love offering to give to Habitat. What we'd like to do is to put that as an actual line item in the budget, and so we can be consistent and dependable with that giving as we partner with the Lutheran Coalition at Habitat, and we can fulfill that part of our commitment to them. Without further ado, I invite the children forward for a children's message.